Hey everybody, today's lesson is on making inferences. And I know that you have spent a good amount of time in Miss Dell's class learning how to make inferences using text. I just want to quickly go over it today because it is a critical thinking skill in social studies as well. So, what is an inference? An inference is something that you figure out based on number one, clues from the text. So, an inference is something that you figure out based on what the text is saying. So, you look for clues. And the second thing that you use to make an inference is what you already know. What is your prior knowledge on the topic? So, an inference is something that you figure out based on clues from the text and what you already know about the topic. So, here's a little way to remember how do I make an inference? What are the steps that I need to take? Well, let's look at this traffic light. The first step you should take is stop. Stop what you are doing. Think back to the prior knowledge that you already have about the topic. So, if the topic is inventors of Ohio, you already have some prior knowledge about Thomas Edison, Garrett Morgan, the Wright brothers, and so on. So, you're going to think of what knowledge do I already have about this topic? And then with caution, you are going to read the text and look for clues as you read it. And then you're going to move to green. Green means go. Go and make an inference. Develop ideas from combining your prior knowledge plus prior knowledge plus the clues from the text equals an inference that you can make. So let's practice. Okay, so you pull up to school to be dropped off. And as you pull in, that's my car. So as you pull into the parking lot, you see amusement park rides being set up, you see tents being built, you see people as clowns, you see different games that you can play, you see popcorn machines. What do you think's happening today? What do you think's happening at our school if you see all of these things in the parking lot? Well, yeah, we could be having a school carnival that day. You just made an inference. You used the clues that were given to you. You used your prior knowledge about these objects, and then you created an inference. So let's try it again. So it says Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. During this speech, he discussed equality for all people in the United States, no matter the color of their skin. There were over 250,000 people there to listen to him. Okay, so let's go over the steps again. Number one, I need to look for clues. Well, let's read it. I like this last sentence. there were over 250,000 people there to listen to him. So there's our clue. All right, and then let's think about some background knowledge that we have of not Abraham Lincoln, of Martin Luther King Jr. So what's some background knowledge that you have? And then let's make an inference. And so I infer, and what can we infer? I infer that Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideas were popular. Does it say it in the text? No. It doesn't mention that he's popular anywhere. But based on our clue, based on our prior knowledge, we can make an inference that he was popular and his ideas were popular in the United States. All right, so let's try it again. So I want us to make an inference on why immigrants had to live in tenement houses. So why did immigrants have to live in tenement houses? Okay, so let's look. In the late 1800s, Ohio's strong industries brought many immigrants to the state. Most immigrants in Ohio quickly found work. Ohio's cities became crowded. Finding a place to live was hard. Most immigrants lived in run-down apartment buildings. So let's think of some clues from our text on why immigrants had to live in run-down apartment buildings called tenements. Well, we know. Let's look. So immigrants in Ohio quickly found work. So we know that they were moving to Ohio quickly because they could find work quickly. We know Ohio cities became crowded. So what inference can we make? I infer that because so many immigrants arrived at once, that good housing could not be built fast enough. So that is what I inferred from the passage about, and then answering the question, why did most immigrants have to live in tenement houses? So I used clues from the text. I used my prior knowledge about immigrants in Ohio that we learned in lesson 8.2. And I came up with the inference that because so many immigrants arrived at once, that good housing could not be built fast enough. So that's my inference. Could you have made another inference different than mine? Absolutely, you could. So what I want you to do now is there's a couple questions for you to practice in your textbook on making inferences. Let me know if you have any questions.